Good morning. Continuing with the scene, we are at Act 4, Scene 3, line about 221. Just before this, Malcolm had said, I'll take this dialogue again, be comforted. Let us make our medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief. In other words, take comfort. Let us cure this awful grief. Let us cure ourselves of this awful grief by taking revenge on Macbeth. Macduff is finding it difficult to come to terms that how can a man be so cruel to kill his little children? And then he tries to explain he has no children. Macbeth has no children. All my pretty ones? Did you say all? Did he kill all my pretty children? O hell kite, O bird of prey! What, all my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop? All my beautiful babies and their mother with one deadly stroke? So Malcolm tells him, dispute it like a man. Dispute it? Fight your sorrow like a man. Macduff pulls himself together and he says, I shall do so. But I must also feel it as a man. That is, I am human. I have emotions, I am sensitive. So I will also feel the loss, the sorrow like a man. I cannot but remember such things that were most precious to me. In other words, I can't help remembering the things that were most precious to me. In other words, my wife and my children. And then he wonders, did heaven look on? Did God not try to protect them? Why did God look on what was happening and would not take their part? He did not help them. He did not try to save them. Sinful Macduff, he's cursing himself. They were all struck for thee. Struck means killed. They were all killed because of you. The blame is on you. Not that I am means wicked that as I am, not for their own demerits. Because I am wicked, it was not their fault, but I am being punished, but for mine. In other words, as wicked as I am, they were slaughtered because of me, not because of anything they did. And then fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now. May God give their souls rest. So Malcolm answers, be this the whetstone of your sword. Whetstone is a type of stone on which you sharpen your sword. So Malcolm says, let this anger and sorrow sharpen your sword. Let grief means unhappiness, convert to anger. Convert means transfer. Transform your grief into anger. Blunt not the heart, instead enrage it. Don't block the feelings in your heart. Let them loose as your rage or as your anger. Macduff, oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes. I could go on weeping like a woman and braggart with my tongue and bragging about how I will avenge them. And I can go on boasting about how I will take my revenge upon Macbeth. But, gentle heavens, cut short all intermission. But, gentle gods, don't keep me waiting. Front to front, bring me face to face. Front to front, bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself. Bring me face to face with Macbeth, that devil of Scotland. Within my sword's length set him. Put him within the reach of my sword. And if he escape, heaven forgive him too. And if he escapes, may heaven forgive him as well. In other words, bring him face to face with me so that I can kill him. Malcolm, this tune goes manly. Malcolm approves and he says, this is the way that a man should talk. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Which king? King Edward of England. Come on, let's go and see the king. King Edward. Our power is ready. Power here means army. Our army is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. All we have to do now is say goodbye to the king. That is all that is left for us to do. Macbeth is ripe for shaking. Macbeth is ready. For shaking means to be killed. Macbeth is ready to be killed. He is ripe for the picking, and the powers above put on the instruments. Receive what cheer you may. And may God be our agent. We'll be acting as God's agents. Cheer up as much as you can. The night is long that never finds the day. That is, this night will end also. A new day will come at last. And they exit. With this, we end Act 4 and we will continue in the next session maybe. Or no, we can carry on. Let us move on to Act 5 without a pause. So we begin with Act 5, Scene 1. The scene is at Dunsinane. There is an anteroom in the castle. Anteroom means an outside chamber in the castle. And a doctor and a waiting gentlewoman are discussing something. They are talking about something. And actually, they are talking about Lady Macbeth's strange habit of sleepwalking. Every night she leaves her bed and starts walking around, talking to herself, but she is actually unaware of what she is doing. This condition is known as somnambulism. Simply put, sleepwalking. So the doctor is asking the lady, I have 2 nights watched with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. When was it she last walked? Meaning, I have stayed up with you for 2 nights now, and I have not seen any evidence, any proof of what you were talking about. When was she last walked? That is, when was the last time you saw her sleepwalking? As a result of somnambulism, the spelling is SOMNAMBULISM. Somnambulism. So the lady answers, since His Majesty went into the field. His Majesty here is Macbeth as the king. Since he went to the field means to the battlefront. I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet. Closet means cupboard. अलमारी जो कहते हैं हम हिंदी में. Take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed. And yet all this while in a most fast sleep. So she says, since Macbeth went to war, I have seen her leave her bed, put on her nightgown, open her cupboard or closet, take out some paper, she folds it, she writes on it, she reads it, she seals it up, and then returns to bed. And all the while she is asleep the entire time. She is in a deep sleep and she is totally unaware of what she is doing. The doctor, a great perturbation in nature. This is unnatural. This is not natural behavior to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. Meaning, it is unnatural to be both asleep and act as if you are awake at the same time. In this slumbery, meaning in this sleepy condition, slumbery agitation means disturbance. Besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say? That is, when she is like this, besides walking and performing various activities, have you heard her say anything? So the gentlewoman, she is loyal to Lady Macbeth and she says, that, sir, which I will not report after her. She says something, sir, but I will not repeat it to you. She is very faithful to Lady Macbeth and she is honest also. So she says, I will not repeat it to you. I will not tell you what the Lady Macbeth says. So the doctor reassures her and she says, you may to me and it is most meet you should. You can tell me. You really should tell me. Why? So that I can understand what is troubling her mind and try and find a cure. So you must tell me what she says. But the woman is adamant and she says, neither to you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. She says, I will not confess it to you nor to anyone else, because there was no one else to witness her. In other words, you may accuse me of making it all up. I don't have any proof, so I will not tell you anything. Just then, Lady Macbeth enters with a taper. Taper means a candle. So the gentlewoman says, lo you, here she comes. Look, here she comes. This is her very guise. This is exactly she always looks. And upon my life fast asleep. And I swear it, she is fast asleep. Observe her, stand close, watch her, but keep hidden. And the doctor, how comes she by that light? The doctor is alarmed because Lady Macbeth is holding a candle which is burning in her hand. So how come she has that burning candle in her hand? And the gentlewoman answers, why? It stood by her. She has light by her continually. It is her command. The lighted candle stands by her bedside. She always has to have a light next to her, even when she is sleeping. Those are her orders. You can almost believe that the room should never be dark. A candle is always burning by her bedside. So the doctor says, you see, her eyes are open. But her eyes are open. And the gentlewoman answers, yes, but their sense is shut. In other words, yes, but they don't see anything. She is unable to see anything. What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands. What is she doing now? The doctor is confused. How she is rubbing her hands? And the gentlewoman answers, it is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. Accustomed means usual. She often does that. She looks like she is washing her hands. I have known her continue in this a quarter of an hour. A quarter of an hour means 15 minutes. I have seen her do that before. For as long as 15 minutes continuously she keeps rubbing her hands. And Lady Macbeth starts talking. Yet here is a spot. There is still a spot here. And the doctor, hark, Listen, she speaks. I will set down what comes from her to satisfy my remembrance the most strongly. Listen, she's talking. I will write down what she says so that I will remember it better at a later time. Now, please mark these words of Lady Macbeth for reference. It's one of her most popular dialogues. Out, damned spot, out, I say. Come out, you damned spot. Now, you can believe that she thinks that there are spots of blood on her hands, and she says, go away, come out, you damned spot, out, I say. 1, 2. This is the sound of the clock striking. It is 2 a.m. at night. Why then? It is time to do it. Okay, it is time to do it now. Hell is murky. Murky means dark. Hell is dark. Fie, my lord, fie. Nonsense, my lord, nonsense. Now she seems to be talking to Macbeth. Remember, she is sleepwalking. She imagines that Macbeth is before her, and my lord means Macbeth. Shameful. Nonsense, Macbeth. A soldier and afeard? You are a soldier and yet you are afraid? What need we fear who knows it when none can call our power to account? Why should we be scared or afraid when no one can lay the guilt upon us? When no one can blame us for it? For what? We can understand she's talking about the murder of Duncan. Yet, who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood on him? Which old man? Duncan. But who would have thought the old man, that is Duncan, would have had so much of blood in him that he would bleed so much? And the doctor says, do you mark that? Did you hear that? He is shocked, he is alarmed. And Lady Macbeth continues, the Thane of Five had a wife. Where is she now? And who's the Thane of Five? Macbeth. The Thane of Five had a wife. Where is she now? What has happened to her? What? Will these hands never be clean? Again she begins rubbing her hands. What? Will my hands never be clean? No more of that, my lord. No more of that. Stop what you are doing. You mar it with this starting. You mar it means you ruin everything. You will ruin everything. You will damage everything by getting startled like this again and again. So the doctor thinks that this lady should not hear what is being said. Go to. You have known what you should not. Now look what you have done. In other words, you have heard something that you should not have. So the gentlewoman says, she has spoke what she should not. I am sure of that. She has said something. She is Lady Macbeth, has said something she should not have said. I am sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known. Only heaven knows what secrets she is keeping. And Lady Macbeth continues and says, here is the smell of blood still. Again, mark these words for reference, please. Blood has a very bad smell and it doesn't go easily. So you can almost imagine her smelling her hands, and she says, I still have the smell of blood on my hand. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, all the perfumes of Arabia could not make my little hand smell better. Oh, and there's so much of sorrow. Now Arabia is famous for its हिंदी में कहते हैं ना इत्र, वो खुशबू होती है जो कॉटन के बड में लगाकर कान के पीछे पुराने ज़माने में लोग रखा करते थे. So and Arabia is very famous for its perfumes. So she says all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this hand of mine, doctor. What a sigh is there. What a heavy sigh. The heart is sorely charged. Her heart is carrying a heavy weight. There's so much of guilt in Lady Macbeth. The gentlewoman says, I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the dignity of the whole body. I would not want a heart like hers, even if you made me queen. That is, I would not want to carry a guilt-ridden heart full of dark secrets, even if you made me the queen. Now, the doctor is trying to understand what is happening, or rather, what has happened. Well. Pray God it be, sir. I hope what she's saying is well, sir. And the doctor gives up and he says, this disease is beyond my practice. In other words, I cannot cure her. I cannot cure her. Yet I have known those which have walked in their sleep who have died holily in their beds. But I have known people who sleepwalked and were not guilty of anything. This woman, this lady, that is Lady Macbeth, is carrying a guilt-ridden heart. I am only a physician, not a psychiatrist. She needs somebody else to help cure her. Lady Macbeth continues, wash your hands, put on your nightgown, look not so pale. She's talking to Macbeth, it seems. Put on your nightgown, don't look so frightened. I tell you yet again, Banquo is buried. I tell you again that Banquo has been buried and he cannot come out of one's grave. He cannot come out of his grave. The doctor, even so? The doctor is even more shocked. Is this true? They had Banquo also murdered, in other words? To bed, to bed. There's a knocking at the gate. There's a knocking at the gate. Come. Give me your hand. Come, give me your hand. What is done cannot be undone. In other words, we cannot change our past actions. To bed. Let us go to bed and exit. So the doctor asks, will she now go to bed? Directly. Yes, right away. The doctor says, foul whisperings are abroad. Please again mark these words for reference. These dialogues of the doctor. Foul whisperings are abroad. That is, there are evil rumors going around. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. That is, when unnatural acts are committed, they cause supernatural or unnatural things to happen. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. Meaning, people with guilty and deranged minds will confess their secrets to their pillows as they sleep. कहने का मतलब है, अगर आपके दिलो दिमाग पर बहुत ज़्यादा कोई बोझ होता है तो आप पागलपन में, नींद में कुछ बोलने लगते हैं. That is, you confess your secrets to your pillows as you sleep. More needs she the divine than the physician. This woman needs a priest more than a doctor. Why a priest? So that she can confess all the crimes that she has committed. She does not need a medical doctor, she needs a priest. God forgive us all. May God forgive all of us. And then he tells the gentlewoman, look after her, take care of her, remove from her the means of all annoyance. That is, remove anything that she might hurt herself with. Remember the candle that Lady Macbeth, the burning candle that Lady Macbeth had in her hand? Remove any such object from near her which she might hurt herself with. And still keep eyes upon her, watch her constantly. So good night. Good night. My mind she has mated. She has bewildered my mind. Mated means shocked. She has shocked me and amazed my sight. And I am amazed by what I saw. I think but dare not speak. I have an opinion, but I dare not say it aloud. I think I know what has happened, but I dare not speak aloud. Good night, good doctor. And they both exit. With this, we end Act 5, Scene 1, and with this, we come to an end of this session also. We will continue in the next session. Thank you.